Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we will be talking about WrestleDream, our results and review of the pay-per-view. We just got done watching it. And yeah, we have a very good show. Getting straight into it, we start on the pre-show where we had an 8-person mixed tag match where we had Kojima, Keith Lee, Athena, and Billy Starks defeat Shane Taylor, Lee Moriarty, Diamante, and Mercedes Martinez. This is a very fun and short match. Kojima's team basically all got to see some good offense in and was wrapped up pretty quick. Yeah, fun little pre-show match.
Yeah, I missed this match. I had family over, then I had to tend to the dogs and a couple other things, so yeah, I missed the first one.
Then moving on from that, we had Claudio Castagnoli defeat Josh Barnett. Again, felt like a very much of a tribute to Antonio Inoki, a very much like shoot style kind of match where they had a lot of grapples trying to take each other down and stuff like that. After the match, Josh Barnett kind of gave respect to Claudio, saying, "People are right about you. You're amazing." He did say that he wants to set up a future match between them two. I'm assuming this would be at Josh Barnett's Bloodsport. So yeah, again, another good match on the pre-show. Moving on after that, we had Luchasaurus versus Nick Wayne. Solid match. Nothing really to talk about. This is a pretty quick match as well. At one point, Luchasaurus like a nice choke slam to Nick Wayne on the apron, which was a pretty gnarly spot. But in the end, Luchasaurus kind of overpowers him and just takes over and, yeah, wins the match.
Yeah, like you said, not too much to say. Pretty much the choke slam on the apron was the big spot of the match. And, yeah, now we get on to the last pre-show match of the night, and that is the Acclaim versus TMDK. Pretty good match. You kind of knew who the winner was going to be because the Acclaim wasn't going to lose because they just got their new belt designs and all that, so it just felt like they were going to win, and they deserved to hold it anyway. But yeah, pretty good match.
Yeah, TMDK had some great offense in, very unique as well, where they all worked together really well. At one point, they had Bad Dude Tito like on the ground. I think it was Shane Hayes. He kind of cannonballs off of his back into Anthony Bowens in the corner, which is a nice move. But in the end, Max Caster does a mic drop for the win. And like I said, they reclaimed the titles. Moving on from that, we had MJF taking on the Righteous in a 2-on-1 handicap match for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions, which MJF manages to outwin and outbeat him. In a very fun match. This was an interesting way to start the show. I thought this would maybe build up like towards the middle or something like that. But again, just a pretty solid match.
Yeah, it was a good match. I expected MJF to lose, being that Adam Cole was hurt. But maybe that means that Adam Cole isn't actually hurt and he was the person behind the mask. So potentially that's what that's leading towards. But yeah, pretty good match. MJF gets the win over the both of them. Pretty funny match. Pretty funny part was when he obviously throws his head into Vincent's ass. Obviously, it's pretty funny. But yeah, good match.
And then moving on after that, we had Eddie Kingston defeating Katsuyori Shibata in one of my favorite matches of the night. Yeah, this was like a flashy match. You didn't have these high-flying moves. It was just some hard-hitting moves and just some chops here and there. But yeah, just a great match. It felt like a good tribute to Antonio Inoki, especially since I'm pretty sure Shibata was somebody that Inoki trained. So yeah, this was a very fun match. He got a standing ovation after the match as well. But in the end, Eddie Kingston manages to win the match. And like I said, one of my favorite matches on the night.
Yeah, this was my first Shibata match that I've seen, and yeah, it was pretty good. Obviously, we all know Eddie Kingston for what he does. He's always going to put on a good show, but I was impressed by Shibata as well.
Then moving on after that, we had the TBS Championship on the line where we had Chris Statlander defeat and retain against Julia Hart. This was a fun match. I think Julia Hart had a great showing, and I think the added her entrance is phenomenal. I love just her aesthetic to it. Just the music fits her so well. But yeah, they had a great match. I'm surprised Julia Hart didn't get the win here, but yeah, Chris Statlander retains, and I'm sure she'll be having a pretty long run with this TBS champion.
Yeah, another funny part about this match was like at the very end when Brody King's kind of just like carrying her out. I just thought that was a little funny as he was carrying her.
Yeah, and then moving on from that, we had a full-weight tag match for a future shot at the AEW Tag Team Champions, where the Young Bucks came out on top. This was a very fun match, and somewhere towards the beginning, I forget exactly which part, but Ray Phoenix did seem to get injured. I don't know if it's just a part of the match or just he actually got injured, but hopefully he's okay, obviously. Young Bucks did manage to get the win here, setting up a match either against the winner of Aussie Open and FTR later in the night. Yeah, this is a fun match at the end. You see Nick Jackson kind of mess up his the finish kind of, but he still managed to kind of clean it up and make it look good in the end, which was a very fun match in my opinion.
Yeah, my pick was the Lucha Brothers, and obviously Rey Fenix got hurt or whatever it was at the beginning of the match, so my pick kind of went out the window for this one. But great match. Penta did his best to, make up for missing a teammate. Orange Cassidy and Hook did pretty well. It's like a little duo they kind of put together on the spot, kind of. And now we move on to our next match, which is one of my favorites, and it was Swerve Strickland versus Hangman Adam Page. This match, just to me, it kind of showed how over Swerve is and how much he deserves championship, at least a shot at it. Maybe not win it first try, but at least a shot at it. The crowd loves him. And yeah, there's not too much to say. He's just super over. He's really good. And he's competing with Adam Page in the middle of the ring and getting cheered from the fans, so that's good signs.
Yeah, he mentioned that, and obviously we're in the hometown of Swerve, but Hangman Adam Page, one of the most beloved wrestlers in AEW, getting booed out the building. You would think we're seeing some devil or something like that, but no, it's Adam Page, and he's getting booed out the building, Swerve getting all the cheers. And yeah, this was a great match, one of my favorites of the night. And yeah, they put on a really good match. And I'm glad they had Swerve get the hometown win. I think that is hopefully proof of putting them closer and closer to a title picture of some sort. But yeah, moving on from that though, we had Ricky Starks versus Wheeler Yuta, where Ricky Starks did get the win. This was a staller match in my opinion. This was just something between this match and your next match, which was the Bryan Danielson match. It was a solid match. Ricky Starks does get the win, which is in my opinion the right call.
Yeah, like you said, pretty short. Every match after this is going to be a 20-plus minute match. So they kind of just had to fill this kind of mid spot before all the long matches kind of hit. Because the last 4 matches is going to take an hour in itself. But Ricky Starks wins, as he should. And now we go on to Bryan Danielson match. And I'll let you take this one.
Yeah, we had Bryan Danielson go get Zack Sabre Jr. basically in the title of who is the best technical wrestler in the world. And Bryan Danielson does manage to come up on top. If technical wrestling is your cup of tea, this is arguably going to be one of your favorite matches of all time. Just 2 guys who just understand what to do together, and they click so well together. This is a dream match for a lot of people, and they did not disappoint at all. Put on an absolute barn burner, my favorite match of the night. Yeah, just an absolute fantastic match.
Yeah, it was really good. My favorite match tonight is actually going to be the next one. But, yeah, this match was really good. Obviously, definitely cannot complain. Don't know much about Zack Sabre, but he definitely showed a lot about him in this match and showed why I should be a fan if I wasn't already.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, the next match was the 6-man tag match where the Don Callis family go against Chris Jericho and the Golden Elite, which the Don Callis family does pull up the win here. This was a very fun match. We had a lot of high moves and just crazy moves and stuff like that. But yeah, I'll let you talk about this since this is your favorite match.
Yeah, I mean, this was built over a long period of time, so there's a big story behind it, kind of. There's a Chris Jericho side with Sammy Guevara, the Chris Jericho with Don Callis, the Kenny Omega, the Takeshita, and basically everyone's intertwined with everyone in this match in some sort of way. So the storyline going into it was good. The match going into it, really good. Sammy hits a amazing shooting star press off the top rope to the outside. I believe it was on Chris Jericho. But it looked amazing. Literally one of the best shooting star presses I've seen in a very long time, if not ever. I love the part with Takeshita and Ibushi in the middle of the ring, where they're just kind of going blow for blow. And Ibushi just kind of kicks everyone's ass in the middle of the ring for a while. Right before he goes to the blow for blow. But yeah, this was just a really good match. I love the Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara kind of back and forth that they were having going into this match. And yeah, it was just really good. Yeah,
the ending, I will say I didn't really enjoy too much, having Don Callis kind of hit Jericho with his baseball bat and then kind of like a very slow, and Will Ospreay kind of hold back Ibushi and Omega on the outside, which I feel like either Ibushi or Omega probably could have got out of Ospreay's grasp, but that's kind of besides the point. But yeah, still a very good match. Yeah, and moving on, we have the AEW World Tag Team Champions. We had FTR going against Aussie Open, which they retain, and pretty much setting up a future match between them and the Young Bucks. So we have FTR and Young Bucks number 4 now. This was a very solid match. I'll say it wasn't FTR's best performance. It wasn't Aussie Open's best performance. But nonetheless, it was still a great match. I believe at one point, Cash Wheeler did get injured after he got a backdrop to Kyle Fletcher. He kind of landed, hit his elbow pretty hard, so maybe that was what maybe threw off the match a little bit. But nonetheless, still a solid match, because when you have FTR in the match, you kind of can't go wrong, because they can do pretty much anything, so yeah.
Yeah, besides that, I don't really have too much to add either. We're just going to go straight on to our main event, and then the main event of the main event.
Yeah, so we had Darby Allin taking on Christian Cage for that TNT Championship. We start the match. Darby does it the first fall, where he kind of uses Christian's turtleneck to put over his head and kind of distracts him for a little bit, rolls him over, gets the first pinfall. It was a very unique way to get a first pinfall. And yeah, and after that, you had they kind of go back and forth for a little while, but at one point, Christian kind of sets up some stairs on the outside, and he goes to do like a suplex over the ropes on the steps, but I think he realizes he can't really get Darby Allin onto the steps, so he kind of is like stopping it for a second. He gets him over the ropes, then tries to body drop him. He does a body slam onto the rigid part of the steps, and a gnarly move that, like, I'm usually a person who can watch things and I can that's cool with me, but that just made me immediately look away. Because his shoulder lands weird, and then he does it again to him. But yeah, after that, that is how Christian gets his first fall. Darby Allin gets counted out. A stretcher comes out, kind of pulling Darby away. Then Christian comes up, just does a frog splash out of nowhere, which looked also gnarly. Then after that, Christian kind of pulls apart the ring. He takes off the entire apron, the padding, starts just on that bare wood. He eventually gets the TBS champion, or the TNT champion, and is about to hit Darby Allin with it. But Nick Wayne comes over the crowd. He pulls the TNT champion out of Christian's hands and is like, "You're not doing that today." He gets back in the ring, is all side by side with Darby Allin, and he's about to hit Christian with it. At the last second, turns around, he hits Darby Allin, pretty much turning on Darby Allin for some reason, which is something that me and you talked about. We don't really agree with that at all. It's kind of it doesn't make sense in my opinion. So, but that's kind of besides the point at this time. But yeah, how about you talk about what happens next?
Yeah, obviously Darby, if you've been watching the channel for a while, he's one of my favorites in AEW. So it just sucks to see him not only lose a title match, but lose in his hometown. Lose to Christian, of all people, who he's been going back and forth with for what seems like forever now. He still can't get the win over him. Well, he got wins over him, just unfortunately not for the belt. And then Nick Wayne turns on him in the middle of all that. So yeah, it just sucks to see that Darby didn't get the win here. I would have loved to see him be the champion. But obviously they have a plan, because what happens next is so first Sting comes out. He comes out to try to help Darby Allin. Obviously he can't really do it. Luchasaurus comes out, and they kind of put a stop to him. They get him down, they go for a concerta with him, and next thing you know, the lights turn out and a vignette starts playing. You see this tall guy get into this muscle car, and it starts driving off. Apparently it said rated R superstar on the road. I didn't catch that myself, but you already know by me saying that it's Edge. He shows up when the vignette stops, and yeah, the crowd just goes absolutely nuts. Metalingus hits, still has his music. He's not Edge anymore, he's Adam Copeland, the rated R superstar. And yeah, Edge is all elite.
Yeah, this is something that me and you talked about, where it's it feels too good to be true to actually happen, so it's probably not going to happen. That's one of the things that you kind of learn in life. But no, Edge, or Adam Copeland I should say now, is, like you said, all elite. He came out, he's about to hit Darby Allin and finish the concerto, but he turns around, hits Nick Wayne, hits Luchasaurus, is about to hit Christian, but Christian gets out the ring, and you kind of a far distance off stare off between the two. Obviously assuming it's going to lead up to a future match between the two, obviously, but yeah, it was a very cool moment seeing him in the ring with Sting, somebody we've never seen him in the ring with someone like Darby Allin, who I never thought I would see him in the ring with. And seeing him under an AEW banner is something I never thought I would see. I always thought I'd see Edge in WWE and WWE alone. So seeing him in a different brand is incredible. So yeah, it's a crazy moment. Gonna be one of the biggest moments in this year, if not for the rest of history, probably. Like, depending on how this run goes for Edge or Adam Copeland and AEW, this could be one of the biggest things for AEW ever. Like, the CM Punk stuff was big, and that did great for him at the time. It kind of fizzled out towards the end and didn't end the way they obviously assumed it would. I'm assuming they didn't want it to end, but yeah, this is something for a fresh start, bringing a huge superstar like Adam Copeland, Edge, and just bringing hopefully some older fans back into wrestling, because they're going to realize they're like, hey, that's Edge. I used to watch him when I was younger or a few years ago. Now you can see him again on. And it looks like he'll be on weekly television as well. They have a little media scrum where he said he's going to be there pretty much weekly now, so that's also going to be incredible to see him back on television or weekly. So yeah.
They also announced that they're doing a special, I guess it's a episode of Dynamite that's going to be on a Tuesday, and it's going to be just basically Tony Khan's birthday. He's having a whole TV show done for his birthday, which is actually insane to have done. But they announced Edge's first opponent, and that's going to be Edge and Luchasaurus. And that's going to be next week. Not this Monday, tomorrow, not this Tuesday coming up, but the Tuesday after that. Yes. That'll happen. But he's also showing up on Dynamite. He's also showing up on Collision. He's full-time AEW. He kind of spoke about how he feels free now. And he said he has like about a list of 14 people that he just kind of quickly like wrote down that he wants to go against, including people like Samoa Joe and Sting and John Moxley,
Kenny Omega, Claudio.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is something that it opens. It's almost like a DLC for AEW and Adam Copeland, because now you have this new list of matches that we kind of never thought we would see or never think we would ever be able to see due to obviously company restrictions and stuff like that. But no, it seems like we're going to be getting a lot of dream matches. And that will lead to my next question: is out to the ones he kind of named, what are maybe some more matches you think or you would want to see?
Well, the main one obviously already kind of hinting towards is Edge versus Christian. I'd like to see Edge and Christian versus the Hardys. Just another last time, like a shout out to the Attitude Era or whatever era you want to associate with that with, since they went so long. And then if you want to just name like newer people, obviously, maybe even someone like Hook, like that could be pretty cool. Even like an Adam Cole, like that would even be cool. MJF, obviously, Kenny Omega. There's so many people, so many directions they could go.
Yeah, you have somebody like Bryan Danielson, people like even like Orange Cassidy, who's like a unique character. I'm interested to see how like if they would ever do some work together. I'm sure something like that happens eventually. Someone like Bryan Danielson, who's kind of looks like on his farewell tour. Seems like he might be ending it sometime soon. That can be a fun match to happen. Yeah, I'm sure we'll get a lot of great matches from Edge and this AEW roster, because they have such a great roster. But yeah, this was a fantastic moment to be a part of. It's great to see wrestling is where it is today. It's just such a cool time, because it's really, you can really expect the unexpected nowadays, because if one person gets released, he can show up in this company the next day or something like that, or vice versa, or these big moments happen like whenever now. So yeah, just it's crazy time to be a wrestling fan.
Yeah, obviously I'm a little older, so I was part of like the Attitude Era. I was around like 10ish years old around that time, and Ruthless Aggression, all that, and that was kind of like the peak of wrestling. At least since the time I was alive, that was the peak. But then it like kind of declined during like the PG era and all that, and now it's like going back up, and it seems like it's going back towards like a peak again, and it doesn't seem like it's gonna stop growing. It seems like it just keeps going and going. And hopefully AEW keeps making moves like this. WWE can make moves like potentially signing CM Punk and bringing back attention towards them. They already have the Jade Cargill signing. Hopefully they do great with her. But yeah, there's just so much like going on in wrestling right now, even outside of WWE and AEW. You have TNA and Ring of Honor and New Japan. There's just so much just wrestling. Yeah.
Another thing as well is I believe in November and like a little bit in December, AEW's going back to Canada as well and doing a full tour on Canada. So those pops for Edge when that Metalingus hits, the thank you, I think you know, you think you know me. So that's gonna be crazy to hear. Just seeing Edge just back on TV regularly apparently is gonna be amazing. It's because now we kind of know that he's on his last legs. He doesn't have a very long time left, but now we know to cherish these moments because this is gonna be probably his last run in wrestling ever. You know, I don't really see him going back to WWE after this because I'm sure he's on like probably a 4 to 5 year deal with AEW or maybe even longer, maybe. But yeah, just a great weekend of wrestling. You had obviously NXT No Mercy the night before. They had some great matches on there. Tonight at WrestleDream, you had even more great matches. Probably 2 5-star matches from Dave Meltzer probably going out. Potentially 3. But yeah, just a great night of wrestling, great weekend of wrestling. But yeah, honestly, one question, like final question before we do our signing out, what is probably your top 3 favorite matches on the night?
I'm gonna go with obviously the one that I mentioned, the Don Callis family versus the Golden Elite. Just my favorite night of the match, the story going into it, the match itself. Obviously, you have to say Christian and Darby because of what happened in the match, after the match, and all of that. I know you were probably gonna say Bryan Danielson versus Zack Sabre, but honestly, for mine, my final one, I think I'm gonna give the shout out to Swerve and Hangman Adam Page. But Swerve deserved that moment. It was a big moment for him, and yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm gonna go like you said, I'm going with the Bryan Danielson match. That is probably gonna be my match of the year right there. With all of wrestling, I think it's something that it's one of those things where you either like it or you don't like it because it's such like a technical, it's not flashy, it's just maneuvers going back and forth, reversal, stuff like that. But they did amazing at it. My second match, I'm probably gonna go with Eddie Kingston and Shibata. Just an absolute, just hard hitting, just back and forth. There wasn't no flashy stuff, but it was just good action nonstop. And the third match, like you said, Swerve versus Adam Page was a fantastic match. Just both men clicked so well together. Hangman Adam Page is on such a good streak of just having banger matches after another. He had the match with Brian Cage not too long ago. Has this match now with Swerve. He's absolutely on a roll right now. So is Swerve as well. Hoping he goes on the big things as well. But yeah, we're going to start off here. Do this video out to you guys as quick as possible. Let us know what you guys think in the comments down below. What was your favorite match of the night? I'm sure we all know your favorite moment of the night, so we're not going to ask you that question. But yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. We'll see you guys in the next video.